way. Yeah, you think that's funny? Taking advantage of horses like that? They're like whipping the fucking horse. They're like just, the horse was trying to go the other way. He's like, like, the fuck's wrong with you, man? I'm sorry, babies. I'm so sorry. I wish I could help you. Why'd you do that? Why are you treating them that way? Well, I think he's scared of you, bro. I'm not the one exploiting them. Eh? It's what? What do you mean? Oh, you're gonna wait for me here? No, you can stay here if you want, or you could walk the dog. I'm pretty sure that there's gonna be other cars that are gonna start pulling up and stuff. And I'll just try to talk to him really quickly and see what's going on, if I could set up a canopy. Wow, I didn't realize we were in like horse exploitation town right now. Yeah. Holy shit. Like I feel like I just crossed into another country or something.
I don't know what's wrong. I saw them during the winter time.
Yeah.
Minus 20 degrees.
Yeah.
Horse in the road.
Yeah.
In the winter storm.
Look at them though. The horses are just like, for fuck's sakes, like it just drives me.
Freezing on the fucking cage.
It's crazy. Come, Max, let's do it.
One more.
I think they're just gonna keep coming. This is ridiculous. Look at them. The guy goes, he's scared of you. I'm sorry.
Horse was watching the legs.
Oh, I didn't see.
Yes, that's why I was hiding him behind the car.
I could hear noise in here. Or maybe I hear the horses, I'm not sure. Oh my God, look. There's babies. Look, right there. Do you see the baby? Oh my God, this is just killing me. Oh my God. Look at that. Look at this poor baby right here. He's just looking at us, stuck in his fucking cage, taken from his mother. All of this is the result of dairy. Look at that. Look at all these hutches. Look at that. Look at that. It doesn't end. It doesn't end. You think dairy doesn't kill? You think dairy doesn't kill? Dairy equals veal. Dairy equals enslaved cows their entire freaking life, 5 to 7 years before they're slaughtered, after they've been artificially impregnated year after year. Look, they're all full. They're all full. They're all full. Oh my God, they're all just stuck in those little huts. Can you imagine how hot it is for them right now? Can you imagine how hot it is for them right now? Like, oh my God, this is just, oh, I'm so upset right now. So do you understand that the dairy industry artificially impregnates cows over and over again, takes their babies, put them in little fucking places like this, and then they kill them for veal, or they enslave them for the next 5 to 7 years of their life so we could drink their milk? Is that okay to you? Like, fuck, this pisses me off. Oh, I knew I was gonna get so upset today, like, and we're supposed to be going to Rib Fest after this.
Yes, I have 1 hour.
Oh my God.
You know what? In the past, right? Why there is a spawn here?
Yeah. Oh my God. Phew. At least well, I got my spiel on my camera anyway. I don't need to post that. I wonder if they just took the first ones out. Like, I wonder why. All the rest are.
You don't see it?
Yeah.
That's why.
It's crazy. Look at that, horse town. Oh, fuck. I by the time I got home last night at 11:30.
11:30? I was asleep.
I know. My cats were like, "Where were you?" And Eddie, because he sleeps at my place, like on the futon in the evenings, he got there at 2 a.m. because him, Sorav, and Piraveen went out to drink, and they met a bartender who was also vegan.
Oh, okay.
And so she bought him a whole first round of drinks, and then they got her involved with other stuff and all this. And I'm like, as soon as he messaged like, P.S. the bartender's vegan, and got us our first rounds of shots, I go, yo, recruit the bartender. He's like, we're already on that. But yeah.
That was busy last.
Yeah, I can't believe, but he woke up at 8 a.m. and then went to New Wave.
Oh, in the Fairbanks?
No, Fearman's, yeah. Oh my god, crazy. I was like, that's wild. I don't know how you can function on that little sleep. Hi. How are you?
How are you doing?
Good, thank you. What's your name?
Corey.
Corey? Michelle. Nice to meet you. So I was just coming to ask you, first of all, how you got wind of this event. Probably from, because we did a press release, or?
I don't know officially as to what channel it came through, but I guess there's a Facebook post or something like that.
Oh, interesting. Oh, okay, cool. Oh,
So
interesting. I didn't
there
even.
wasn't much information on it, so they just told me to come by to make sure everything's peaceful.
Yeah, of course,
That's
of
it.
course.
Yep.
So basically, what I was gonna ask you was, I have a canopy because we're gonna be in the middle of the sun here, like, for 2 hours, and I have this pop-up canopy, and I was wondering where exactly I could install it, because I don't want to be in people's ways, but where we're gonna set up our cars. I would set it up kind of like not right in front of where they're holding the babies, but like just kind of across behind our cars, and I'd pop it open there. I mean, this road's under construction anyway, so no one's gonna be really passing.
There's not a lot of traffic here. You're mostly
Yeah.
getting horse and buggies.
I know, it's so sad.
Yeah, probably the safest because people will be wanting to avoid your cars anyways.
Yeah,
Would be to you on the right-hand side of the road.
that's it.
And that just lets everyone else know, you know,
Yeah,
you guys
yeah.
stay here, peaceful,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
If media shows up, then that's great for you guys.
Yeah.
Just don't go onto their property.
No,
That's-
of
that's
course.
That's the only thing that
Yeah,
my
of
boss
course.
wanted to make sure. That
Yeah, we already know that. We also
Yep.
know the rules, the laws, and all that kind of
Yep.
stuff. So we're not here to cause trouble. If anything, we're just here to educate and inform the public, right?
Yep.
And you know, I have
Publicity will
a.
help
You what?
Publicity will help you.
Yeah, exactly.
Lot-
That's why we did a
lot
press
of
release. So, well,
Where'd
because
you do that through? The press release?
in Kitchener, Waterloo, through CTV. There's CTV, I think. Or
CTV? Yep.
yeah. They're usually pretty cooperative. Like they came last time to our Springbrook Fur Farm, at the
Okay.
Fur Farms, which is around here.
I'm not
Springbrooks.
familiar with that one.
Okay, so I'm not familiar with the area around here. I'm from Oakville, so like
Oh, okay.
I drive quite the while to get out here. But I have a lot of people that are around from here, and so last time we did Springbrook and we did African Lion Safari, they also came and covered that as well.
Okay.
So it was, we're hoping for this one because you know what, like, I don't know, do you consume dairy still?
Yeah.
Really? Why?
I always have. It's always been healthy.
Interesting.
Like, you mean just meat or milk or everything?
Milk, like dairy, like
yeah.
just like the products from cows, right? Like okay. So you think it's healthy?
Yeah.
Why do you think it's healthy?
It's always been that way for me. my
I know
family.
it's because they've done such a good job at publicly and marketing it to be healthy, right? So I was diagnosed with MS 10 years ago, and I don't know if you know what multiple sclerosis is.
I do, yeah.
So it's an autoimmune condition, right?
Yep.
It's your immune system that attacks your nervous system. And it led me down a whole path of a lot of research.
Yep.
And one of the biggest culprits was how obsessed I was with dairy. Like
Okay.
I used to drink 3 bags of milk every second day, have cheese, yogurt. Like I was a mixed martial artist, like boxing, all that kind of stuff. And that's what, like, I just thought that was healthy. And I literally thought I was building bones, right? I was
Yeah.
like, it's good for my bones. It's
Yeah.
good. It turns out that it's the exact opposite. Like what they're telling us is literally, because if you look at the source of where all this is coming from, and like the lobbying and the companies that own this, right? They have a lot of fucking money. And they want people to believe that it's healthy for them because it's a whole system, right? Like you can use the cow
What do
for
you
X
use as
amount
an
of time.
alternative, like almond milk?
I use tons of different stuff. Like it depends, like because I was so obsessed with cheese and yogurt and things like that, they've got tons of alternatives. I make my own nut milk now because it's been 10 years for me.
Okay.
So it's been like quite the time of like discovery research and all that kind of stuff. So I'm used to it now. But when I used to go into a grocery store, there would be potentially soy milk and maybe tofu, right? If I was lucky. Now I go into a grocery store and there's more dairy alternatives than there are actual dairy.
Right.
There's more fake or alternative cheese than there are actual cheese. And the thing is too, is like when you really think about it, because I'm also a holistic nutritionist, I went back to school to study so I could help other people like myself. And it's super inflammatory for our body. If you look at like the data, in North America, they are the most highly leveled osteoporosis. Like if you look at osteoporosis, right, which is the breaking down of the bones, like we're the biggest consumer of dairy. The biggest consumer of dairy and the highest level of osteoporosis. Tell me how that links. Like if you look at all these countries that don't actually consume dairy, they don't even have osteoporosis.
Really?
So it's like, it doesn't make sense. And the people, everyone that I talk to, everyone I know is lactose intolerant. And it's, of course it is. Like if you just think about it logically, okay? Very logically, from me to you, like dairy cows, okay? They're producing milk for their children. The same way that our mothers produce milk for us. And if we were taking our mother's milk, it had all of the nutrients designed for our body, for our growth, right? There was growth hormones, there was all these things in milk for us, for the growth of a baby human as a species, right?
Okay.
If you look at the dairy species, how does it make sense, first of all, within the whole animal kingdom, that humans are the only animal that continue to drink milk once they're weaned off? Like, not even their own mother's milk.
Yeah.
We continue to drink another mammal's milk once we're even weaned off. If you look at the animal kingdom in general, like no animal continues to drink milk once they're weaned off, and never mind from another species.
Now, did you start looking into this when you were diagnosed?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, back then I come from a 2,000 population town in Témiscamingue, Quebec, a town of hunters, trappers. Like I was raised on meat, potatoes, and peas. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that was our staple meal every day. So it's like I've seen both sides of the spectrum, and I really used to believe, I swear to God, I've gotten into arguments with coaches back then in MMA that milk and dairy was healthy for me. I was like, no, science, like that's what it says. Like I have strong bones. I've never broken anything in my body because of that. And then fast forward, get diagnosed with MS, wake up one morning, 50% of strength from the right side body, couldn't even get out of it. Like it was fucked. I was a waitress and I was training to fight, and like everything I did in my life was physical, right? So like I had to, when my neurologist tried to scare me into taking medication, there's the pharmaceutical industry. It's a whole other thing that you probably don't want to get me started on, but it's all in freaking link, okay? So the pharmaceutical industry is like, that my neurologist tried to tell me like, you need to get injections every day, otherwise you might end up in a wheelchair, because it's very debilitating, right? MS, like if it gets out of hand, if people don't address their lifestyle and they, you know, continue to do what they're doing, of course it's going to get worse, right? And for the most part, you lose your motor skills, you end up in a wheelchair.
Yeah, family and friends' mom passed away from MS.
Okay, so and I have tons of people around me that also have been diagnosed with that, right? So when that happened to me, I was like, holy shit, like this is a whole other level.
So
like
you
I'm
don't take
24 years
medication
old.
for your MS? It's all
No.
natural, holistic?
Everything is, I have changed my entire lifestyle. But like I'm talking to a whole other level. Like I did 10-day silent meditations in Vipassana. I did, like I took it to a whole other level in the sense that I changed my life around. 180 doesn't even do it justice. Like 360. Right? 360, because...
Is there any research in that there is surgery that could either slow it or not reverse it, but...
No,
I thought there
not
was
with
some-
MS. With MS, there's absolutely nothing. There's a stem cell thing that they were experiencing with a few years back, but it didn't really amount to anything, and I didn't hear like much more after that, so I don't know what happened to the subject cases or whatnot, but usually when it tampers down like
That's
that,
what I remember hearing.
it was
You said
probably
that
not
stem
good
cells.
news. Yeah.
Yeah, my friend's mom, since we were 16, was diagnosed with it, so that's back 1990.
Yeah.
And then she passed now 11 years ago, so she went quite far.
Oh yeah, a lot of people like,
Yeah.
and again, that's the thing, right? I don't know if you know a little bit about epigenetics.
No.
So rather than just, you know how like doctors or neurologists or specialists will always come down to like, oh, it's genetic, right? if you think of what that actually means, the reason it's genetic is because we're born into a family, and then our family teaches us what they know.
Right.
So the issues that they've developed based on whatever lifestyle they're living, they're teaching it to their kids. And their kids are doing the same thing. So this is why it's genetic, right? So I broke myself apart from that because, well, now thankfully most of my family's vegan and all that as well. But I broke away from that because 10 years ago, if I based myself on my genetics, on my family and stuff like that, I'd have all sorts of issues. Never mind just MS, right? Like everyone had diabetes, they were all obese, overweight, like all this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, if I look at that, I decided, you know what? No, epigenetics is the fact that we're able to alter, change, and adapt based on our environment. So it depends what you put yourself into, whether the thoughts that you have, if you have something that you're doing purposefully, how the food that you're putting inside your body, like everything, right? So as much as like EMFs and like everything around us impacts us, and it impacts the way that our body's going to respond. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So epigenetics is the power and the influence of our environment based on how we react. So I changed everything in my environment, and I went against all genes of my family, right? Like my doctors and everyone are like astonished, like they can't even believe. When I went back for an MRI the last time, my lesions in my head shrank. So they were like, what have you been doing? I said all the shit that I've been doing, and the neurologist goes, oh no, I don't think it's lifestyle related. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like,
doctors are stuck on studies.
They're
in
stuck.
Science that they've all learned, right? And that has.
But the worst part, though, Corey, right?
Yeah.
The worst part is it comes from the pharmaceutical industry. Doctors get trained by mainly pharmaceutical professionals to be told what drug works and doesn't work for what thing.
Yep.
So it's all linked in. Like most doctors go in wanting to help humans, and then they end up stuck in a system. It's almost like you, right? Like you ended up as a police officer wanting to help people. Like for the most part, the police officers that I know, they're doing this because they want to help. They want to help instill certain rules or laws that'll keep the peace and all that kind of stuff, right? And sometimes you just get sucked into a system. You end up having to do things that like you potentially don't really agree with, but it's political and it's this and it's that, and for fear of losing your job. Doctors is for fear of losing their license. Like there's just, we're all like stuck in this system. So it's like, you know, what we do is that, like for me, I didn't think that this would amount to this. Like I didn't think that I would amount to where I am today. I was always an activist at heart. I was always a rebel at heart.
Yep.
Always. But now I'm using it. I'm using it to fuel, right? But the thing is like I changed my life and I changed myself, and I saw all of the benefits. Like I saw what it was like to be on the dark side and feeling like really shitty and hating my life and being into alcohol and drugs and just all of that and consuming dead, but like everything, right? To like switching everything around and feeling the lightness and feeling the kindness and the empathy and the compassion and wanting to help people and studying NVC and doing meditation and yoga and being a coach and having purpose. Like I just completely switched it, and it really switched the way that I feel and the way that I impact and influence others around me. So it's like I want to raise awareness, like the same way that you just said, like no, like in your family that was the reality, right? Like I suggest you watch, there's a lot of different documentaries. I actually have a lot of really good cards for you. I'm gonna go over there and start setting up the canopy for shade and for people coming, because the event is supposed to start at 1. But I would love to come after, Corey, and I'll give you a few cards and things like that.
I honestly, if it's just peaceful and we're not having people trying to climb fences and let cows out, and my bosses didn't understand totally, just because there was a lot of information as to.
I wish we could do that, but you know.
There's other more important stuff for me to be doing.
Yeah,
so I might
okay.
have to take off,
So if you do, can you just come around like this way and then turn around a UE over there, and I'll give you a card and stuff like that if you decide
give
to.
me a website?
Yeah, for sure. Actually, my website is I Love Balance, so it's like I like a third eye chakra, EYE, love, and balance. I have like all my stuff, and I even have an activism page on there. So this is like my coaching, my membership, all that kind of stuff. But I have my activism page on there, tons of documentaries, resources, like it sends you a PDF you get, and it's just, it is interesting because I'll tell you, I also thought for the longest time that it was benefiting me, right? Until I got really sick and I realized, holy shit, there's actually a link between the molecular structure of dairy and your myelin sheath, which is what protects your central nervous system. So my body that was so used to attacking the pathogens because I was consuming dairy every day and like eating junk food and doing all this shit, like my body was constantly in a fight or flight trying to fight this shit off. Like it doesn't know what to do with it. And then eventually, once it got rid of all that, then it's like, oh, okay, well, like, what else can we fight off? And then it's like, oh, the myelin sheath, right, which is what's covering your central nervous system, looks exactly the same. Let's attack this instead.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, when I started, I'm telling you, the links, like, I just wish people knew, because it's about the animals, but it's also about our own health and about the environment. Like, it's really all linked in, right? So,
Okay, well,
all right.
I hope C2E shows up for you. You guys
Me
get
too.
publicity.
Me too. I love balance. Have a great day, Corey. All right, let's set up this canopy. I know, I never shut up. I could keep talking for hours. But this is why I struggle with outreaching.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, yes.
Because I end up in 2-hour conversations with people versus like 20 minutes at a time, you know what I mean? Look at the hawk over here. Do you see the hawk?
Yes.
Look at that. Again, like, I can't stress it enough. You need to understand, like, everything I just told this guy, you know, there's huge correlation. Dairy is super inflammatory for you. Like, you don't benefit. You don't benefit from consuming dairy for yourself, never mind for those poor beings. Oh, hey, you guys. I just ended up having a great conversation with police officer Corey over here. We're good. I'm gonna set up the canopy and stuff. I just wanted to make sure that we were good. Eh? What did you say? Oh, Laszlo. Laszlo and Max. Yeah. That would be amazing. Oh yeah. I didn't even make a sign for this event. But I know I have stuff like stop killing animal, like I have a whole bunch of stuff, but I just didn't I didn't have time. I got home at 11:30 last night. You what?
I should have won.
I bought it yesterday for this specifically. I was like, I wanted to buy it. They gave it to me.
I have a hoodie, but it's gonna be way too hot.
That's why I'm gonna set up the canopy for this guy over here. Hey. Hey, you have, Jenny, there's tons of babies in there. There's tons of babies. There was one, he was poking his head out, trying to lick the cage earlier. All the ones that are closed are filled. I'm wondering.
The picture like shows that they're dairy, doesn't it? Like they've got 4 udders. They're Holstein cows. These could be female or male in here. They're not necessarily.
Well,
veal.
Okay, so that's it. I didn't know if they would be veal calves that are trucks just gonna come by, pick them. Cause see how like all the first ones are empty and stuff.
Yeah.
I saw some trucks on my way here this morning, and I couldn't see what animals were in them, but.
Yeah, I mean, if the males are born and they're in there, then they will likely go.
Trucks will just come pick them up and bring them, right?
Yeah, unless they're a big like breeding station and they take the males off to other areas to kind of populate the.
Oh yeah. Like to have. Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Like bull semen and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or do they take the semen of the calves? Like.
I doubt.
Yeah. I don't think so either. I know of a farm that they have like all these like super beautiful bred bulls or whatever, and that's it. They like take their semen, and that's how they impregnate all the other cows, and then the dairies end up here. So then the question is, are they replacement for the?
They could be.
Or
could be replacements, and there could be female little baby girls in there as well.
Yeah.
Like replacing herds.
Yeah.
It's like specializing in fresh heifers.
Oh, that's so gross. What does that even mean?
Exactly.
Pro soils.
Fresh.
Exchanging nature naturally.
What does that mean? Awful.
That's crazy. Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna set up.
But I'm saying to you,
as a participant, as a neighbor, right?
I don't know. It's not my responsibility to be watching today. My responsibility
I'm
is to speak to how
asking,
I'm
though.
feeling about why I'm standing here today, speaking for these creatures that have no voice.
I'm asking if you're internally consistent in your arguments. If this is a march against the murder of sentience, then I'm asking you, where's your solidarity for human babies?
When a woman has an abortion,
Pardon me.
that is
can't-
I don't think
not a
he's-
sentient being.
care about different issues at the same time.
Right. I'm asking you.
We
If
can
you're
care about
internally
different
consistent.
issues at the same time. Just because we're here protesting animals doesn't mean we care about humans too.
Yes, I
And
understand
what are
that.
your arrows for?
I understand
What
that
are your
you,
arrows for?
my arrows are for target practice.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a similar, I guess, enterprises which you're involved in, frankly speaking. So I'm wondering if there's internal consistency here.
Fetuses aren't sentient.
Pardon me?
Fetuses, embryos, they're not sentient.
I also can't hear you. You gotta speak up. I'm really hard
Embryos
here.
aren't sentient.
Pardon?
Embryos are not sentient.
But cows are.
They're on the ground, they're breathing, they're alive.
Embryos aren't sentient. So then they're what? Is corn sentient?
Are you here to talk about abortion or about oppression?
Abortion or
Or,
oppression?
yeah, like
What's the diff?
what's the difference?
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
we're
explain.
here we're here today, right?
I see.
Here
that.
for the dairy calves.
Yeah.
Like yesterday, we were at an animal rights march all day downtown Toronto. We did a Cube of Truth. We're constantly doing different
thought
events
so. Yeah.
out of our own time, right? Like we're all full-time workers. We spend our spare time to fight for beings that are suffering in this world, right?
So,
we fight against all
what about the
oppression.
beings that are being ripped apart?
So what do you
But I just want to ask you, like, is this actually your concern? Like, do you come to a
So,
group like
listen,
us?
Listen, folks, because this is where this breaks down for me. Is you guys seem to fail to think critically.
Who do
here.
you think? Who do you
There-
label as
I'm
you guys?
talking.
Who's
There's
you guys?
hierarchy of
But I need
beings.
specificity.
Things that you're talking about.
Okay.
Where's your protest? Do you protest that? Do you have a
I'm-
group? Can
I'm talking
we,
to the protesters right now.
Yeah, I know.
I'm asking you, is there a difference between the cows and the corn?
Yes, there's a
Okay,
difference.
both have
Corn
life.
doesn't have a
yeah?
nervous system.
Both
Corn
have
doesn't
life.
feel pain. Cows feel
Are you
pain.
seriously
This is
comparing
corn.
Let him
to a baby cow?
vent. Let him
Yes,
vent
I'm
first.
saying- can I please
Just
talk?
let him vent.
Okay,
Go
sure,
ahead.
go ahead.
Let's listen
have
to what you
freedom
have
of
to say.
speech.
Okay, a carrot's the same as a cow. Go ahead.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying there's a difference, no?
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a
Right,
huge
but
difference.
there's also-
One has
but-
a central nervous system, one has pain receptors, one has
Plants?
the will to live.
Okay.
Plants are stuck in the ground, they're waiting their forest.
Do they have a will to live? They call that
They react to stimuli. They react to
Is there
stimuli.
life?
They're
Some
growing.
subject-
They
These
react to
babies are
stimuli.
born.
They don't have a central nervous system. They don't have a brain. They don't have a heart. They don't feel
Also,
pain.
what do you think that they eat?
And
I
if
don't-
you are so worried about the plants, you'd be a plant rights activist.
You're not letting me speak.
And the animals,
asking
you'd be
questions, so you're
vegan.
not
You'd be
listening to the
vegan
answers.
because if you're so worried about the plants, the amount of plants we feed the animals,
Darling.
just to
What
eat,
about the
sweetheart.
corn? So he's
I'm
answering
talking,
your
I'm
question, but
talking.
you're not
Honey,
listening to the
There's a
honey.
difference between one and the other, right?
I'm
I'd
talking.
rather be
I'm
called
hearing
honey.
Okay.
So here's the
You
simple
guys,
way.
let the
I just
poor
want to
guy.
put it in a really simple way. If you took your arrows right now
Well,
and
I
you
just-
shot the
I
corn,
think it's
what's
a
corn gonna
ridiculous-
do?
I know. But
If you took that
potentially,
arrow and you shot
people
that
that are
cow is gonna
passionate like
cry out
that,
and it's gonna
we
bleed
could
and cry.
switch that passion sides.
That corn
I
would just
agree.
stand there and take an arrow.
And has balls.
the major
He's here with
difference.
like
Right,
20
so
fucking
pain.
people. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yes, pain.
he's a future
Pain
activist, this
into
guy.
emotions
Very
in this
scary.
world around us.
it's right on you. Oh no.
Do you think
Yeah.
a child in utero has pain and emotion, sir?
I don't
Irrelevant.
think so.
We're
Oh
talking
my
about
God.
corn and cows.
And I'm talking about corn, cows, and babies. Can we manage three things on our mind at
Okay,
once?
3 things. All right.
All I'm, listen to me, sir. All I'm trying to establish is there is a hierarchy, no, of cows and corn. You are making this very clear. You're saying cows is more important than corn. And I'm saying, I agree with you, sir. But I'm saying, notice the hierarchy. Enslavement. Notice the hierarchy of beings. Do you understand that concept?
We're more about
that's
eco and not
three
ego.
beings.
There's cows.
Is a cow
There's
a baby
eco and not ego. You're speaking from a standpoint of ego. We speak from a standpoint of eco. We think that all beings.
Ego and ego.
Yeah, 100%. You're thinking speciesism. You're like, I am better as a human species than all other species.
But those
Do you think
cows
it-
aren't making a moral stance with science.
Yeah, but do you
They
think
can't. They can't. Look at where they're trapped.
Those are
They're
prisons.
trapped
Those
in
are
little.
little
They're
huts,
babies
man.
I would
trapped.
ask
Look at this
you-
baby. Do you see his little head? Look at his his little head peeking out there?
That's
This little baby calf that was taken from his mother, that was forcefully impregnated. Do you see? Look, right there. That little cute little head. They're all full.
Over on this one.
They're all full of all of these babies. Look at his
I
head,
understand.
right there. Okay. This baby was taken from his mother, forcefully impregnated by us. This is a system that we have created. Do you understand the things you're talking
abortion, hon?
Why do you come back to abortion? Do we
Because I'm saying no.
How do you know our stance on abortion? You don't even know.
That's why
Exactly.
I'm asking.
So why does that matter to you so much? We're not here to talk about that. We're here because
You're
these
here to talk about the injustice and oppression.
Yes,
against,
exactly.
Against sentience that has no voice.
So we're here for dairy, baby dairy cows right now.
Internally consistent.
Of course we are, 100%. We're all pro-choice. We're all pro-choice.
Well, he chooses to do this.
No, he doesn't. Do you actually believe what you just said? Do you think this baby chooses to do that? Do you actually believe what you just said?
Farmer there.
Okay. So why does he have more rights than these guys?
But this is the problem, folks. As far as I can tell, I'm not saying it is the problem. I'm saying no, as somebody who actually thinks about deep issues, who tries to understand. I understand pain and suffering, okay?
Yeah, me too.
I understand that.
Okay.
I've been wounded.
Okay. So why would you wish that upon other beings if you knew you didn't have to? If you knew you didn't have to, why would you wish that upon others? If you knew that you could be the change you wish to see, if you as a person experienced that suffering and that pain, why would you wish that upon others if you knew you didn't have to?
Because this is what I've come to in my estimation of things.
And what have you come to?
First, that love must be extended to oneself.
That is very true.
Primarily, because we exist in, how would you say this, in a distance. You are not me and I am not you, right? We all are different. We all have to now stand 6 feet apart and keep our distance, right? There's distance between us. First, you want to be the change you want to see in the world.
I am already, thank you.
Well, let's I wouldn't dare to claim that about what I think is the truth.
It's
Continue.
irrelevant to challenge it. Yeah. It is.
Continue. Please continue.
Both parties, like it's irrelevant
nonetheless an aim that I
on that
have
path too, right
to be sure. I think very deeply about these things.
That's good. So if you do think very deeply, what I was telling my
I'm
friends, you're a future activist. Look at you, you have balls. You just came here between like 20 people. You came to talk, came to talk about your principles, right?
But let me then describe my principle. You have freedom to describe your principle.
Then please describe it.
I appreciate this, okay? But a principle that I have then, you want to be the change you want to see. First you must extend that love
to all beings
and acceptance to yourself.
Yep.
And then
all beings.
It doesn't go from 1 to a million, sir. It goes from 1 to 2, and then from 2 to 3, and then from 3 to 4.
I'm not going to argue that premise, but
so I am
what
saying,
I'm interested in...
Stop. I'm saying, I cannot have the audacity to say, I love myself 100%, and I've chosen one individual to love specifically. That's who my wife is. I've made a vow publicly to love her.
Good for you.
Above all else. Then now we have a child. Right?
Yeah.
And then it must be my neighbor, and then it must be you.
Wouldn't you want to teach your child?
I'm saying.
I love that you're mamming me right now. Continue.
Ma'am, you're probably the same age as me, possibly.
Probably. I'm like, okay, I'm a ma'am over here.
Yeah.
Continue.
Michelle.
If you're old enough to be, the same age, then I'm sir too. So I'm a dad. So
And as a father, you would want to teach your child love and respect for all beings, right?
Yes, I do. Because I have held my son. And I have seen how the universe exists in one thing.
In all things.
Right. But I am one thing. I cannot claim universality of mind or opinion. That would be hubris. Only God can do that.
But wouldn't you want to do everything in your power?
I'm attempting to love myself and to love my neighbor as myself.
And we all are as well.
I know. And so then that neighborliness extends outward from that. But it only can come authentically from when that is in place.
Okay.
It cannot skip from the second person to the third person outside of that relationship.
So let me ask you something. You think that
this
people...
is why this breaks down for me as a moral person who thinks deeply, is we come out here and we say, hooray for stopping the oppression and injustice against things that have no voices.
All beings, yeah.
And But we say...
We try not to refer to them as things, right? Because they're
But I
living
do not
beings.
march in the pro-life march. I'm an activist, but not that kind of activist. Why? Well, because that seems to be a separate issue. And so now all of a sudden I'm compartmentalized in my mind. It's like I have more than one head.
But you do
But
understand
this
that
is
most
not
beings...
an authentically coherent worldview. It's
You're
not the
talking
truth.
of multiple people in one group and versus individualized people
So then
and based
I
on
will-
their experience. Like, it's
Then
not
I
a...
will ask you, because I will ask you, because you're right, I can't say...
You
what
can't
is the
speak for all
meat-
of us.
The anti-meat...
We're all
movement
vegans
say?
here. None of us eat animals here. We're
Okay.
all vegans. We all live in alignment with our core values. We don't eat animals. We don't exploit animals. We don't use or abuse animals for anything, right? And all of our actions every day, we do our best. Does it mean that we're perfect? No. Does it mean that there's still things that we're contributing to that we don't want to? Yes.
Systems are too
That's
complex for
yes.
that to
But we
extricate
have to
oneself
start
from.
somewhere.
I understand that. I understand that deeply. That the systems of oppression have weaved themselves such that we become responsible on many levels. And
exactly.
That's unfair. What I'm asking though is, are you anti-abortion? Do you see the same life in that embryo as you do in this cow? Because I must
is
ask
that gonna determine your behaviors and your actions on this
That's
planet?
going to determine whether or not I take you guys seriously. Take you seriously.
Interesting.
At your word.
So if I tell you that I think that everyone has a choice in the end, that doesn't, you don't take me seriously in that way?
But the choice is not the ultimate.
When the choice doesn't impede on another living being's breathing life.
That embryo.
So
her choice.
Your entire discussion right now came back to that. Like, it came back to abortion. I'm just confused why that's so important to you. Why is that what matters to you based on what we're doing
out
here?
Defending life.
No, we're out here right now in this moment at this event. We're here for those baby calves that have been taken from their mothers.
But
this is why we're here right now.
In order, hun, for me to take you seriously.
But I don't need you to take me seriously.
Why not?
I just
Because
need you to understand
how do you know I'm not part of
what
the problem?
you can do. I know you're probably part of the problem.
If you want to solve it, then let's solve it.
Of course, that is the goal, 100%.
the
But
goal
you
is
do
to
understand,
change my
consumers. No, the goal is not to change your decision. The goal is to inform and educate you and hope that you're going to make your own decisions, because as you just said, all life matters, and you have been doing the research necessary to be a conscientious being that doesn't want to impact and harm others. That is every being. So for me to take you seriously because you're so pro-life, then I would think that you're not taking the life of any other being. I'm talking about you potentially taking the life of all other beings except for this pro-life you're talking about.
Right, because
so are you congruent? Are you congruent with your beliefs?
I am.
Interesting. So you're pro-life and you're vegan as well?
Are you willing to sit and listen to how I could explain this seemingly incongruence to you?
I'm willing to stand and listen.
Sweet. Okay. Otherwise, I wouldn't cast my pearls before the swine, as they say. Just saying that.
Okay.
I would say there's a hierarchy of being.
Okay. Already you've lost me.
The difference between a corn and a cow, right?
But you're talking
Both
a
have
hierarchy of beings, right? So let me explain to you my chart.
You can't figure this out, folks.
Eco versus
there's like a prime
ego.
Minister, right? And then, there's like his cabinet, and then there's like the population.
I'm not saying the corn can vote or the cow can vote. That's not what I'm saying. Do you understand? They're not here at the level of being able to vote for who's going to be in power, right?
If you're going to defend this and not human life, I'm saying there's an
I defend every life. I defend every life. Every life. Every living life. I'm here. I am pro-choice for every single living being on this planet. And I act
Pro-choice
accordingly.
is not, you're saying, I'm pro-life, but I'm pro-choice. And
No, I'm asking you. You said you were pro-life, but then you're still eating other beings.
This feels like mental gymnastics to me.
Yeah, it
Religious
does.
mental gymnastics.
It does. I'm actually not religious, but yeah.
No, you are. You're out here on a Sunday with a sign.
I'm
That's the
spiritual.
definition of
I'm
religious.
spiritual, and I want to help this world become a better place, right? So I take action.
Guys, you guys are
But I don't
so
believe in
woke, it's
God.
so joke. You guys are so joke.
Why are you talking about these guys? None of these guys have been talking to you. You've been talking to me. You can tell me that I'm a joke if that's how it makes you feel better, right? If that makes you feel better. But I can see that you're being triggered right now. Look at how triggered he is. So triggered. This guy's got issues. I would say not worth. Animals are not ours to use, exploit, and consume. Be just, live vegan. Animal Bill of Rights. I just need to not waste my time. At first, I thought to myself, he could be a potential very strong activist. Like if he really does understand and he... Yeah, target practice. Yeah. I've done target practice, not to kill people, or animals, or, you know, anyone. Just because I like shooting and I'm really good. I'm really good at shooting. But I would never want to shoot a living being ever, right? Targets? Fun. But I think that for him it's probably the purpose of other things afterwards, unfortunately. And that's the difference, right? I know, that's where I'm like, okay, well, if you're just gonna keep saying that now, you've lost me. Like, okay, do you want me to bring my speaker, like, what do we want to do? Do we want to...
I don't think I'm kind of into like using a microphone.
Same. No, I don't think the same. Like, I don't really want to... Because they're all there, right? And they keep looking at us. Look at this little baby looking at us right now.
Yeah, see if you can get like some soothing music or something. Maybe
Try
some
music.
like really peaceful melodies and stuff for them.
Yeah, and then see if they come out and enjoy that.
Yeah, maybe we'll get like all their heads out in the line just looking at us like really.
That someone told me that they, like, I could see all the kids and all that. Like, they were a pretty big family over there, and then they disappeared. And then who?
To the van and drive away.
That's it, Linda. And she saw them from the other side. So they didn't
exit out the other side.
Yeah, they didn't come out this way. Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, because they're just over there. I thought they were part of the family too. I think they're
Amazing. As I go through everyone, please tell me your Instagram or Facebook tag.
Hi, Daniel Boivin. I'm on Facebook.
Daniel Boivin.
Daniel Boivin, Quebec.
Yes.
To,
so Facebook.
Southwestern Ontario. Daniel Boivin on Facebook.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Facebook, Bobby Schmidt.
Yeah, Bobby Schmidt here. Whoop whoop.
Instagram, The Future is Vegan, and The Girl Who Loves Animals.
Awesome. The Future is Vegan and The Girl Who Loves Animals on Instagram. Love it.
Facebook, Robin Waldman. Instagram, Robin Loves Animals.
Robin Loves Animals. I love it. You guys have just all great tags.
Brenda Sharp and Facebook.
Yes, Brenda Sharp, Facebook. Woo! This is exactly... God, it's so sad. It's even worse than that.
Hey,
Hi.
how are you?
Good, yourself?
Fantastic.
Tell me, please, your Instagram and Facebook tag. And/or.
Oh, geez, I don't even know. What, at John S. said you, and...
At John S. Ed U?
SZU.
SZU. Okay, yeah. SZU, yeah. Perfect. Amazing. Killing animals is killing the planet. I had such good conversations on the day of the plant-based treaty because of that sign specifically in Burlington. Hi. Tell me. Instagram, Facebook? Instagram?
Diablo Worshipper.
Diablo Worshipper. Love it. ¿Hablas en español? Oh, Diablo. I thought maybe.
My favorite goat.
Oh, okay. Oh, amazing. I love it. The best. If you buy dairy, babies die. And that's exactly what we're witnessing right here. I saw about like 7 of those when I parked my car this morning, and it was just like brutal. A lot of them were not doing well either. Like, hey, tell me, Instagram or Facebook?
Just Instagram.
Okay.
Tans Shots. TANSZSHOTSZ.
Tans Shots. Amazing with a Z. Perfect. Plant-based milk. Better for the planet, the cows, and you. Amazing signs, everyone. Yes.
I made them.
Oh, okay.
My cricket.
Yeah. So tell me, Instagram, Facebook?
Instagram is Dara Hinza.
Dara Hinza.
DARAHINSA.
Amazing. Okay,
And
perfect.
My Facebook name, I think, is just Darlene Green.
Yeah, I think you have your name. Yeah. Darling Green. Perfect. Be kind to all kinds. So good. Great signs, by the way. You did fantastic. Yeah. Amazing. Tell us, Jenny, your tag, your Instagram, everything.
I'm Jenny Vegan McQueen on Instagram.
Yep.
And Jenny McQueen on Facebook.
Yes.
And I'm Veg Jen on Twitter.
Yes.
And I'm something similar on TikTok.
Amazing. Look her up. Look everyone up. 100%. Not your
Thank
mom,
you so much,
not your
Michelle.
milk.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Again, it's like sometimes I feel like most of us connect all the time, and then a lot of us don't remember each other's names. We don't remember, but we see each other all the time. So I'm like, you know what? I post these videos all the time. People will know, like people that know you, that have been with you, and then they'll be like, oh, that's her name. Oh, that's her tag. Oh, that's, you know what I mean? Like, might as well connect us, right?
Can you start the music?
Yeah, actually, let me do that, and then I'll finish with the rest. I keep getting distracted. I'm taking everyone's names, social media, Instagram, the whole shabam, because once I post it after, I want everyone to be able to know who everyone is and we could all follow each other. So please.
Connie Rogers.
Yep.
I'm just on Facebook.
Okay,
under
okay.
My name, Connie Rogers.
Yeah.
DG.
Yeah, you don't have Instagram, eh?
No, I don't.
That's what I thought. Okay, cool. So Connie Rogers, everyone.
Well,
thank you so
I
much
do,
again,
but I don't use it.
Oh, okay. She's like, so let's just not talk about that one.
I'm Anthea Lark.
Anthea Lark.
Anthea Lark, yeah.
Amazing. Is that a Spanish background?
I'm from Argentina.
Oh, from Argentina. ¿Hablas en español también?
Sí, sí.
Ay, qué bueno. Tenemos que practicar juntos entonces. ¿Cómo?
¿De dónde sos vos?
Yo de Quebec. Mi primer idioma es el francés. Entonces creo que es porque que el español es un poquito más fácil para mí.
Sí, claro.
Pero me gusta mucho. Es un idioma tan bonito. Sorry. Tell me about you.
Christine Campbell.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm not on social media anymore.
Oh, it's true. Oh my God, Christine, I knew because I was like, I don't see you on social media.
Yeah.
Okay, well, at least people know who you are. But yes, Facebook jail exists 100%. Did you give me your tag, your Instagram or Facebook?
I don't know. It's my name, Anthea Lark.
Do you have that on Instagram or Facebook? Is that?
I have Facebook.
Okay, for under Anthea. Okay, amazing. Thank you so much. Hello, hello.
Hi.
Please tell me your name and your tags on Instagram and Facebook, please. Just so I could.
How about my tag on Instagram?
You what?
I don't have Instagram.
Oh, no, but you have Facebook?
Sorry?
Do you have Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay, please tell us.
All right, my name's Jessica.
Jessica?
And then I'm not sure how to look on Facebook. I'm not sure what my Facebook name is.
Oh, okay.
Jessica Hunter.
Okay, amazing. So we'll look you up. Hopefully that's what your name is under. Thank you, Jessica. Thanks for being here.
So for you, it's...
So there's a benefit.
So for you, this is...
Okay, Eddie, tell us your tag on Instagram and on Facebook, please.
I don't use Insta. Eddie Barbosa on Facebook.
Okay, and that's it, right? Do you have TikTok?
No.
Eddie Barbosa on Facebook.
Just Eddie Barbosa.
Laszlo, can you tell us your tag on Instagram and on Facebook so that people can follow you?
Yes.
Tell us now, please.
You're my Instagram?
Yeah.
Laszlo Shagashvari.
Laszlo Shagashvari, okay.
Yes.
And what is it on Facebook? You're under another name.
Yes.
No, but on Facebook you're under CC Lassie.
No, it was my nickname, but
Okay.
I switched it back to my original name.
Oh, so you're back to
Yes,
Laszlo.
already, yeah, a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, I didn't realize. Okay, amazing.
Yes.
Thank you. Also, thank you so much for coming with that suit. That's amazing. It's amazing. All right. Please tell us your social media, like Instagram and Facebook, please.
The Girl Who Loves Animals.
A Girl Who Loves Animals on.
The Future's Vegan on Instagram.
And the Future's Vegan. Amazing. Yeah, I follow those both accounts.
Just across the street.
Oh yeah, oh my God, thank you so much. So bad, I'm just going back to every person I see in front of me. Everyone's like, Michelle, you've done this already, oh God. Okay, amazing. Leave yet or what? Oh, I'm gonna go bring him a card like I told him I would. Since he's not leaving yet. It's so sad that we can't do anything. Like, it's just breaking my heart so fucking much right now. Sorry, guys. It's just, it's hard. Like, every part of me just wants to go in there and like, all right, we just each grab a cow, let's go. And, I mean, I want to save them all, right? Not just one, I want to save them all. So it's a little crazy.
So a calf could be laying there dying, and they say they love their animals. It's like such a joke. Like,
It's hard to imagine,
Who
isn't
loves
it?
animals? We're in boiling hot day right now.
Can you guys just move that way a little bit more, please?
And 6 months from now will be the howling winds.
Exactly.
Like, these babies are getting here at a day old or less, and they're going to get fired out here in minus 30. A little bit of straw on the ground is going to keep them cozy and warm. I don't think so. It's just. I don't think we can even imagine the things that come up when you keep animals in this fashion, this mass-produced, mass-housed way. This is a family farm, so it's going to become very functional. Get the bottles into the thing. They're also supposed to have feed that is dry and free of moisture. Neonatal calves and older, because they're on a milk diet, it's liquid poo. So looking at those, how often do you think they get cleaned out?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd love to. We can't go and see, but I'd like to see the conditions.
We'd get a
after.
fine of $15,000.
Yeah. So I would be very surprised that someone could tell me there's fresh bedding in there every day. I bed my animals every day.
And the thing is, there could be baby girls in there, there could be baby boys. It's a heifer operation, so I mean, I would imagine some of those are going to the veal industry.
It could be. We just don't know from the roadway, and that's as far as we can get.
And we've looked at their website as well, haven't we? And
Yes.
there's no way, I mean, they don't give out any information at all.
No, and I've asked Paz about that too. Is there any list? Is there anything we can do to ensure that we're targeting who we think we are? Focusing on the ones we think we are for the issue that we think
Just
we
for
are.
the regulations, because we want these to be free. I mean, group housing is a thing, but more importantly, why the hell are we still using and abusing animals?
Yeah.
It like drives me nuts.
Well,
It really does.
That's the thing at the end of the bucket, right? Like, there's so many regulations that could be being violated, probably are being violated here. Whether they're veal, there's quite a number of them. As you mentioned, since the 2017 code came into effect, they are supposed to be, they say, group house as young as possible and no later than 8 weeks of age. So we can't possibly tell the age of these animals. But and if it's after 8 weeks of age, you need a veterinarian plan to justify why they're being kept individually. So looking at this situation, not knowing the ages and all the details, does this look like any efforts being made towards group housing? As important as we know it is for their social development and their well-being and the expression of their natural behaviors as curious and social beings. So there's just so many things, and even if it's not in black and white, it should be. And it's just appalling. Whether they're dairy, whether they're veal, whatever's going on, it's like
And the thing is that if they treat them as commodities from the beginning, why would they care where they keep them in the meantime, right? As long as they're able to keep them so they could do whatever they want with them after.
Yeah, it's like putting widgets into boxes.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, they're not widgets.
No, they're living
sentient
beings. Yeah, exactly.
So it's very frustrating. So they're going to do, it appears to me that they're going to do as little as possible. In my experience with reporting other farms and what's gone on and the speed of the response times, lots of notice, still not complying.
Yeah.
They either take away the veal huts or they do it last second. So it's not out of caring that they do it.
No, it's because they have to, because they're being reported.
They're not valuing them, right?
Of course.
As the beings that they are.
Yeah.
So it's just very hard to... This one really struck me as a really strong visual for people who maybe don't know this to really understand and think about this.
Yeah.
As the hours tick by, the days, the months tick by. It must be an eternity for these guys.
100%. Like, it's super hot for us right here, right now. I'm sweating like crazy. Like, they have no escape. And you can see not only the fact that they're sentient living beings, the moment we put soft music on, they all started popping their heads out. They're curious. They want to be able to interact, like you said. Like, it's just so heartbreaking, honestly. Like, And the fact that, like you said, most people don't even know that this is the result of dairy. Like, I spent 25 minutes educating the police officer over here who still thought that dairy was healthy for him, and that's how he was raised. And I explained the correlation with osteoporosis, with the Western world, with everything that we've been lied to, because if you actually follow the money, you realize how they've been lobbied and how they've been pushing these lies so that humans could just continue to consume something that's not theirs.
Right.
And it's so harmful to our planet, to those poor beings, to us, to everyone. Like, it's such a vicious circle, right? That needs to change. So,
yeah. And I think you raise a huge good point. It's driven by money and by industry, and they're a very powerful lobby. The dairy farmers of Ontario, they're very powerful.
The only reason they still exist right now, Connie, is because of the subsidies. It's the only reason they still exist right now. Oh, you guys, look. And the only reason that they still exist right now is because of those subsidies, is because our government and us, our taxes, we're paying for this, is giving them money to keep doing this, because their sales dropped so much. They've lost millions and millions of dollars. And if you go into a grocery store, you see all the alternatives, you see everything that's way better than consuming the milk of another mammal, which makes absolute no sense. But because of the money and because it's easy for them to keep doing this, they keep doing it, right? They already have the system. It's easier to keep doing it than to change everything and transition everything. But right now, we're paying for this. Us, the people, are paying for this through our taxes and then our government through subsidies. It's frustrating to know that most people would never, ever comply with this. They would never want to contribute to this. And yet, they don't even know. They bury their heads. They keep doing it. And then our government and we keep paying for it. Like, I've been vegan for 10 years. 10 years I'm paying for animal agriculture subsidies. 10 years I'm paying for fur subsidies, for exploiting animals subsidies. And it's so frustrating. And people don't even know, right? Like, it's, but thank you so much for bringing the attention, because I had no idea that this was here. And you're the one that reached out and brought the pressure for us to actually come and shed light here.
Yeah, no problem. Well, and it's just, they have, I mean, it's an overused perhaps thing, but they just have no voice, and I just think about them for all that time. Like, I'm at home doing something completely normal, expressing my own, natural behaviors, and I just think, well, they're still in there, lying in their pile of crap.
Exactly.
And the sun's beating in, like you said, or the winds are blowing in there, and they could. I don't even think we can imagine the things that are going on there. And what for me was pretty interesting is the veal farmers of Ontario. Actually do a pretty good job on their website of counseling the farmers that pay fees to them. So they have a connection with the farmers that are veal farmers, for sure. And they have counseled them and warned them, these requirements are coming. And one of their statements, and I can either read it directly from, I'm clutching the binder.
Read it.
They state that if you think that putting bars across the front of that and the cows looking out to see their neighbor is visual contact, it is not.
Of course not. Are you kidding?
I know that's the veal group, but it's industry, and calves are calves. So if the veal group says this isn't visual contact, and as a minimum the dairy code says they must have visual contact, then we have a problem here. According to the code.
100%. And if at least showing this is going to bring, again, it's all about shedding light and getting people to make that connection, right? Because at the end of the day, we just don't want these to exist.
Right.
We want to eradicate all this together. We don't need the dairy industry. We don't need dairy in our lives. We don't need dairy to be healthy, and we certainly don't need these cows to continue to be exploited like that, right?
Absolutely not. We prefer they not be here. But this helps give us something hooked.
Yes, 100%. Like some welfare.
Here.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, anybody ask your questions. Like, see, is this okay with you in general?
Exactly.
Do they have a few more feet of space? Is that okay with you?
Yeah, exactly.
Or do you want to maybe shift over to plant-based?
Yeah, let's just stop the whole industry altogether, right?
Yeah. So this is the veal code. This is the Veal Farmers of Ontario website. This is a newsletter from the fall of 2020. Effective December 31st, 2020, calves and hutches and outdoor enclosures must not be tethered, and calves and hutches must be able to access an area outside the hutch. Wow. What exactly does this requirement mean? Likely, the first thing most producers will think of is, I will add a bar across, keeping the calf in the hutch only. However, the rest of the requirement states calves must be able to access an area outside of the hutch. As the code is outcome-based, it may be hard for some to know exactly what that means and why it is included in the code. Access outside the hutch was included in the updated code because calves are social animals and need visual contact with other calves. This is the industry.
Wow.
Providing an area outside the hutch gives the calves the ability to come out of the hutch to look around at other calves. Just popping their head out and hoping their neighbor is doing the same is not sufficient to meet the need for visual contact. So as a very minimum, the dairy code, which is long not updated, it's expected next year, requires visual contact. We don't have that.
And you know, okay, another really frustrating point to this is they say that everything takes time, right? Like laws and application and all this stuff. But look at what just happened now. Look at what just happened now, say for the pandemic, okay?
Oh, Bill 156.
Look at Bill 150. Oh, and they did that while the pandemic was happening, like all under the table. Let's try and make it as quick. All of these things, whatever. If they want something, they can make it happen.
Exactly.
And as a governing forces and as authorities, they can make. We could apply these things. We have the solutions. We just need to do it.
We need to decide
right?
that we intend to do it. That it's important and it needs to be done.
Yes, and people need to speak up. We need to talk to our MPs, our MPPs, our governments. We need, again, of course, Bill 156 is just ridiculous in itself. That's something that's being fought in court right now. But like, I bet you most of our own people within like our constituency and whatnot don't even know. Like, I didn't know this was here.
No, and I
had
spoke
no
to my
idea.
MP.
Yeah.
In Kitchener-Conestoga, Mike Harris. I spoke to his office and I showed his folks that took my story. I showed them pictures of a facility like this one up on the 8th line in Drayton, and they were horrified. They were like, "What are those things?" And I'm like, "They're calf huts."
Yeah.
We actually put animals inside those.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yes, we do." So they just have
Permanently.
no idea. Yeah, like
Permanently, their
long
whole
periods of
freaking life until they're gonna die or become a slave.
Yeah, exactly. So the reward at the end of it is slaughter.
Yeah.
Horrific facility. So it's quite compelling, and I think that's a very good part of what we're doing today. Hopefully we can really shine a light on that. And one of the problems in the whole system, and I am not knocking PAWS because they're speaking for animals and we need them, and they're doing their best. I feel that they need more training in agricultural animals, in the protections. In discussions with them, I've been fortunate enough to have discussions with them on this issue, and I became aware that they do not feel that this falls under their definition of distress for animals.
Yeah.
Because my point was, okay, things are not happening quickly enough. I imagine these guys in these white bubbles all night, all day, weeks on end, and it's torture. Solitary confinement is defined as some level of torture, and it's a pretty high form. And so calves aren't exactly the same as humans, but I think we can figure out that it's they're social, they're
Absolutely,
playful, so it's misery for them as well.
Yeah.
And I said, so if we were reporting this for dogs, not having water or being confined in a
We could break into a car no problem and not be charged to take an animal out, a dog out.
The action would be immediate and it would be urgent. And I said, I feel that this deserves the same kind of action. And it's not being treated that way. So as a justification for that lack of urgency, they read to me the definition of distress under the PAWS Act, and it includes psychological distress. So I said to them, I am very concerned that you don't see this as psychological distress.
Yep, they don't, because it's a cow instead of a dog.
Right.
Why
So
love
that
one but
needs to
eat
be
the other?
addressed. If they are the only entity that can speak from a regulation, from an action standpoint, from a legally, thanks to 156 and various other things.
Yeah.
They're the only ones speaking for these guys. So
Which organization are we talking about?
Provincial Animal Welfare Services.
Provincial
So
Animal
PAWS.
Welfare Services. Oh, PAWS. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so that is the only thing we can do for these guys is to phone and report to them. And there's no feedback provided, and the feeling that it doesn't fall under distress. And it's like, well, what chance have we got then?
So I think we need to do kind of like a campaign, the same that we've been doing with the fur campaigns and stuff. So basically like doing like a daily action, a one day where we aim for this place specifically, or like even just like to show, like to shed light. So like all of us would like either do a review on them or would like talk, like we would just all, and then we could send them emails just to like, or send emails to like the Ministry of Agriculture and things like that. I know, right? Exactly.
Sorry.
Trust me. I've done. I know, yeah, but I've done this. I've sent so many of those, right?
Exactly.
I know. But things do change, though. Yeah. Things do change in the sense, for example, with fur. When we got on a day and we had like 7,000 emails sent to a specific company, like they're for free now, right? So, I mean, there are things that we could do extra apart from coming here and like, because a lot of us are like, look, like we're a lot of people here and we're all online, like we all have access to, and even when I'm doing like other outreaches and other events, like I did AV in Burlington last week, I met some people that were vegan that said they could put 3 to 4 hours in online campaigning and things like that. So I'm trying to like kind of use the animal rebellion system and start doing recruiting, because we're always the same people doing the same work. So we need other people. So and especially for things like this, like if I could, you know, tally up 50 to 100 people at the same time that are sending letters to the ministry, that are sending, like things will move a little bit more, right? Like to say like you're not treating this as distress. You're not. Even right now I'm a little upset because the news isn't here, right? And we did release a news press release to them from.
You spoke to the police?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I did. This is where I was going now to give them my cards, because I
don't even cover our big march in Toronto. They don't.
No, but they came for Springbrook Fur Farms, because in this area, Waterloo and Kitchener, they're usually pretty good. Yeah, like they came for also ALS, African Lion Safari. Oh, that's right. They came so that's why we were hoping that they would come here, yeah. But apparently not today.
Yeah. Were they receptive to your message?
His name was Corey, and he was super receptive. We had a great conversation because a lot of his family members have MS and stuff, and then I talked about epigenetics and about like, because he still drinks dairy, right? And I'm like, look, this is the direct result. Like, how are you okay with this? And he wasn't, but he's like, yeah, but you know, most of us don't see this. And I'm like, exactly.
So you see it now.
But yeah, and so anyway, that's why I wanted to send him all my cards. I also want to go ask, like, what if we just kind of go along with that? Like, where is their property line? That's what I'm gonna ask him.
They're not even home now.
No, they left, I know.
Yeah, and I talked to the kids. That was really interesting.
Oh, when did you talk to the kids?
I drove by here. It's probably at least a few weeks ago now.
Oh, okay.
So I just came here and I wanted to grab a couple of pictures and just see if everything was the same as when I had last seen it. And 2 young boys came running down the laneway, and they were both each holding the end of a sign that said no trespassing, biosecurity, and so on.
Oh my God.
I said, oh, it's almost like you guys have done that before.
Yeah.
And the little girl stayed up at the house, and I felt kind of bad because they're kind of caught in the middle of all of this.
Yeah.
But they asked what I was doing here, and I said, I'm just looking at the calves. And they said, well, why are you looking at them? And I said, well, I'm concerned about them. Mm-hmm. And I told them why, like, you know, lack of movement and playful and all that stuff. And they just, the younger lad, you know, kids are so honest. He just said, why care? They're calves. And so that's, you know, that's the messaging that they're getting and so on. So, you know, I explained to them why we should care, you know, being sentient beings, and, you know, how you like to play with your brother. They want to play with each other too. You know, it's very, very similar. Mm-hmm. And after some discussion, you know, like I wasn't going to go hard sell on these guys. But after a while, they just said, you shouldn't be here. We don't like people looking at our counts. And I just said, well.
How old were they?
They were like maybe, I don't know, 6 and 9. I kind of have trouble aging.
We did a protest like this, like regularly, like, you know, every couple of weeks. All these people come out. How disturbing it would be for the owners.
Oh yeah, especially if we were sending out emails all the time, doing like everything together, right? Like just blasting them.
To the point of being like, oh, you know, it's like, forget this. Like, we have to change our business or something.
Yeah. And I wouldn't, you know, I kind of feel for the kids though, because we don't want it to become scary for them. And
well, like we're not doing anything scary. We're just standing there.
Yeah.
It's nothing scary. It's just maybe the kids will think too that, oh, maybe something is
will inspire. Yeah, dinner table discussion.
Yeah, like we're not doing anything scary. We're just standing there protesting.
Yeah. So I mean, I can read.
I think that would be the hardest part, is like grouping people for events that are further away, right? Like for myself, like I drove an hour and a half to get here this morning. How like
It's tough, I know.
it's
tough.
and I got home at 11:30 last night after the cube, right?
On the lake, I drove to Toronto yesterday.
It saves
like, I'm all
exactly.
over the place.
Exactly, and we all do that, so it's a little bit harder when it's further away, because then, so I think like other means of pressure, both, this would be a good way too, 100%. So they're here as well during the winter. It's the same during the winter.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all season round. So when it's minus 30, they're stuck in those huts.
Yeah, as newborns. Like the first day of life, they're out there. Yeah. There's nothing to stop them.
Wouldn't some of them freeze for that?
Yeah, I think there's a bit high mortality rate from what I understand.
In that like minus 20, minus 30?
Yeah, we would never know.
Yeah, of course.
Just throw them out.
Yeah.
This, I don't know if you want me to read this. This is the veal code.
Sure. Let's hear it.
I just highlighted the part. I'll make sure it's the veal code before I... Yeah, veal cattle. So these are the requirements for housing. Effective December 31st, 2020, in all holdings, calves must be housed in groups as young as possible and not later than 8 weeks of age.
Yeah, I know. He's just...
Time in individual housing can only be extended past 8 weeks of age in exceptional circumstances for the health and welfare of individual calves on the advice of the herd veterinarian according to the herd health plan. So there has to be a justification for keeping them individually past 8 weeks of age. So there's, for these calves, we have to assume that there's some reason that they're being kept individually, especially if they're more than 2 months old. We don't assume it, we know there has to be. So with these numbers, I kind of doubt, I guess what I'm saying is there's no effort to group house.
No, of course not. They had a system there already. Why would they do anything to change it?
Yeah, and then it goes on further. There's some indoor requirements, but we're talking about outdoor. So hutches and outdoor enclosures, effective July 1st, 2018. Calves and hutches and outdoor enclosures must be grouped as young as possible. That's the same requirement. It just reiterates it. Effective December 31st, 2020, calves and hutches and outdoor enclosures must not be tethered, and calves and hutches must be able to access an area outside the hutch.
Wow.
So that means, in effect, they have to have fencing around it to allow them to step outside. Because tethering, we so often see tethering in the countryside, and that's okay for dairy right now, according to their code, which is not updated like this one. But the problem with that is, as you can imagine, if that tether were long enough to allow them to lay completely recumbent, lay out flat, which is required, according to the science, it states it in here somewhere, that the science requires for them to have effective rest, they must lay flat out. That tether would be so long, I imagine they would get all caught up in it frequently. So when I look at the tethers, I kind of check the length, and it's not super long. So they probably have to sleep like this.
Oh my.
So whether they're dairy or veal, you know, they've rectified it for veal if they follow the requirement.
Of all life on Earth, but they're valuable. Good thinking.
But for the dairy cattle, there's no such help right now. They have to sleep like this and not get. We all know what ineffective rest is like. So that's what's behind that. There was, and they explain that the science explains they need to be fully recumbent. So no more tethers. And they must be able to step outside. Neither of which we see here. So,
no. They can't. They tried to step outside and they can't, right?
And then the recommended practices. So these are recommended, they're not enforceable. Consider housing calves in pairs from arrival. I don't think they'd consider that, but anyway. Choose hutches large enough to house calves in a small group, e.g. 2 to 5 calves, from arrival, or arrange hutches to permit visual and physical contact between calves from arrival.
Wow.
So they're making an effort in that direction, but then the farmer has to follow it.
Wow.
They have to roll it out. So.
What recommended means
That's crazy. Like, that's wild.
And that's my point for pause is, like, they actually said to me, they cautioned me, they just said, well, it's not actually a law. Like, we'll go out. And it was one person in particular who was a little bit reluctant. It's not actually law. And I said, the veal farmers of Ontario say, we can't enforce this requirement on farm, but the minute a pause inspector is on your doorstep, it's enforceable. So I read that back to the person at pause, and I said, if the farmer believes it, and the veal farmers of Ontario believe it, then why don't you just enforce it?
Yeah. Can't we pretend like we're a pause inspector? We could just come in here and be like,
Yeah, like, why are we arguing against it? Like, just go out and enforce it, because so far, it's like, wait till it's challenged then. Like, they said they could challenge it. I'm like, well, let's let them do that. But let's at least make an effort, so.
Let's go see what Len's going to say as well. Give me 5 seconds. That is Len, right?
Yeah.
Just making sure. But honestly, thank you so much. And thank you so much for bringing us here and shedding light, because like, even if all these requirements were met, it'd be so messed up. So the fact that it's like this right now, and that there is a potential for like better welfare rules, but they're not even being applied, is like...
And they're suffering right in front of us all the time. You know, it's just, it doesn't have to be this way. It shouldn't.
It doesn't.
Right now, behind me, on the so-called dairy farm, which is an animal prison, a slave plantation here in Ontario. Hundreds of baby so-called cows imprisoned in these hutches behind me right now. And this is known as a heifer operation. So what they do is they rip these babies away from their mothers and they imprison them in this solitary confinement behind me. And then they will sell them off to be milk machines at other farms. We've seen some of these babies poking their heads through, some trying to escape when they were roused by the sound of these beautiful activists here. But of course they can't, because as you can see, there are bars across these solitary confinement prison cells here. They're in the blazing sun. It's actually hot, although it's September. It's 27 degrees, close to 80 Fahrenheit. And they're there in God knows what temperature inside this solitary confinement without their mother, nothing to do, going stir crazy. This is their life, solitary confinement. What was their crime? Their crime was being an animal who could not defend themselves against people who want to accumulate wealth at the expense of those who cannot defend themselves. Let's take a closer look at this madness in 2021, when the vegan revolution is on, but this is still happening to animals for some inconceivable reason. Counted about 400 of these hutches here. Any one that has bars across has an animal inside right now. I'm not going to call them baby cows. Technically, a baby born to a cow is not a cow until they give birth and they start producing milk, which is intended for their babies, but of course humans steal that. They're inside right now. A few have tried to escape while we're here, and if that happens again, I'll capture the footage. Under the blazing sun. For what? For milk, cheese, and yogurt that is replicated perfectly by plant-based technology that tastes as good or better, that didn't involve exploiting others. The big problem here is that the government subsidizes animal agriculture in Canada to the tune of billions of dollars per year. They proudly put an image of a slave on this barn, on this prison, as though they are proud to exploit these animals, as though they are just commodities. I imagine these are wealthy people here. Let's take a bigger look at the operation. Look at this beautiful house behind her. Here to put on their social media and hundreds of thousands of
over here, look, Len.
I know when I stopped eating dairy, it was disgusting the first place that I did. Then my allergies went away, my asthma almost dissipated. It's disgusting. Oh, I see.
Now, come on, this is 2021. These people understand.
There's a head over here.
That animals are not commodities. I've been alerted that one of the animals is trying to escape right here. Down there a little further, zoom in, play with them all. It's just heartbreaking. This is their life. So these babies are never allowed to leave these hutches under any circumstance until the time comes for them to be transported to farms to be turned into milking machines. Have you seen anything more heartbreaking? What is wrong with the people who reside here and run this slavery? Do they not look into the eyes of these animals and hear their screams and cries when they're torn away from their mothers? I don't understand the psychology. How can you do this? You know, these people were raised, the children were raised into this operation, but the government and industry needs to stand up and support a transition to plant-based agriculture. Here's another baby sticking their head out in vain, looking towards the soothing music that these beautiful people are going to. But like you said, if you want to know that you are happy about the choice, find the option.
Lunch.
Find the option to not partake in it. That's what it was.
Lunch. The one that was for
Another one was trying to break free here. Of course, they actually
that's what it break out. I had to realize that.
We're going to keep an eye. Which row, Ashley? Wonderful. Second row. In the second row, we have seen a couple trying to break out.
They're all full. So after 2 to 5 years after they've given babies, after they've given 3 babies, after they're utterly exhausted, so much so, yeah, I see. They all fall down, develop disease, and then they'll be chucked onto a death truck, sent to a slaughterhouse, and be shot in the skull, slit across the throat. And then that will go into your burger or your steak. Do we need to do this to these beings anymore? No. I don't think we ever needed to do it. Why are we breeding animals into existence just to eat them when we can just eat the plants that we're feeding them? 80 billion land animals are produced per human. There's only 8 billion people in the world. So why would we do something so ridiculous? We're here for the dairy calves here, being bred into existence. If you think about that for a second, they're bred into existence so we can drink the udder milk of a cow. How does that make any sense whatsoever? And then we put them into solitary confinement. How are we doing this to? We're monsters. And all for a splash of milk in your Java? You're not a cow. You're not a baby cow. It's ridiculous. The smell out here. The fact that they can't even look at anybody else. They can't see anybody else. They're looking at the back of a crate for months on end.
Here's their mailbox.
Oh, that's a good point. That's good. I love that. All these dairy literature stuff, plus how to go vegan and all this great information that we're going to leave in the nice bowl here. Put it in the mailbox now and we'll go see if Jenny does have more stuff. 1350 Weber. Linda had a great idea. There you go. Locks it in there. Safe. Good to go. And let's see if Jenny has more. We'll add more for sure. Laszlo. Max! What's up, Max? Oh, Max! Come on, baby. You big
Cows are
baby.
exactly the same. There's no difference. There's no difference.
Yes, you
It's just that it's not socially acceptable. In our culture, kill dogs, milk the dogs, exploit them, drink their milk. No. No different from these animals. It's just that it's been made socially acceptable to exploit these babies. Religion, upbringing, there's no excuse. It's just slavery. You didn't make excuses. White people enslaved black people. There were no excuses. This is the same. It's just done. It's just done because it's bad power.
Len, look at this baby here. Super close, just looking at us right there. First row, third.
Another baby. The only comfort that she's ever going to experience in her life is the music that these activists, these kind souls are playing. This is the closest she will ever come to freedom. This moment. Seeing people who care for her, probably understanding what they do, because animals are intelligent and possess powers of perception far beyond what humans possess.
She's eating the bar.
She's eating the bar. She's eating the bar.
Trying
She has gone crazy. She has been driven mad. She's trying to keep her way out of this.
You're still here. You what? There's nothing going on. I have like
It's on your
so.
page, but I don't have a lot of data, so I can't watch videos on it. Like, I don't know.
Oh, okay. Oh, I have so much stuff on there. So, tons of stuff. So, this one is one of the things that we've been doing lately to endorse plant-based subsidies and stuff, just because quite often we think it's the consumer's choice, but if we were able to get those companies to move towards alternatives, then people wouldn't really have a choice, right? So, and most of the times when I know people that try alternatives, they're like, oh, this is the same thing. I'm like, yeah, minus the cruelty. Like, that's it, right? So if we were able to switch all that, then it'd be a lot easier for all of us. There's like a how to go vegan, all that kind of stuff. There's my card, there's tons of documentaries. There's just really good information on there.
I know we work with some people that are vegan or that stuff, so.
Yeah, they're definitely onto something. They're onto something, because that's the kind of thing, right? It's like, if you know you could live a happy, healthy life and not not contribute to the exploitation, then why do it? Like, I know we have those habits. Like, for me, I had to have something drastic happen to me to like research and stop doing those things, right? But like, that's why I wish people didn't get to that point where they have a heart attack, where they have something that happens drastically, some type of autoimmune disease, or that's always what happens, and that's what it takes. And for some, it's too late.
It's for anything, whether it's your health or anything else drastic has to happen for your behavior.
Yep, to be fed up and to actually take action. But the difference today, like for example, do you have kids?
Yep.
So there you go. If you actually want a planet for your kids and their future generations to live on, we can't keep doing what we're doing. It's not sustainable in any way. For the animals, for the planet, for our own health, like what we're doing is not sustainable. So we need to reinvent the systems. We need to move towards plant-based subsidies. We need to get rid of this kind of stuff. Like, there's so many things we can do to make it better, but there's a very small percentage of people that have a lot of money that have systems. Hey, Diane. That have systems that already exist that, like, say for them, for example, okay? We're here on a very welfareist account in the sense we really just want to shed light, but the actual veal committee of Canada or whatnot, like the ones that take care of veal and cows and they make up the laws for that, they just changed that calves need to have a space where they could interact with one another, because they're super social beings, right? Like, no matter what age, they're young babies, they're like dogs. They want to interact, they want to, like, you go take a dog for a walk, like, he wants to see every other dog, he wants interaction, needs stimulation. It's the same thing for those beings.